He paralyzed my best friend in an intoxicated hit and run and called it bad luck, so I made every car ride he took a terrifying gamble. My best friend Alex was the type of guy who could charm your grandma, fix your leaky sink, and tell you the name of every single Pokemon without breaking a sweat. Alex wasn't just my best friend. He was everyone's best friend, the human equivalent of sunshine on a rainy day. Enter Mike, aka the walking equivalent of stepping on a Lego barefoot. Mike was our co-worker, and he wore his entitlement like cologne, overpowering and unnecessary. His hobbies included drinking too much, bragging about drinking too much, and laughing at jokes no one else found funny. One intoxicated night, Mike's ego collided with Alex's bicycle, and Mike drove off without even tapping the brakes. Alex ended up in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the waist down. Mike? He ended up telling everyone it was just bad luck. No remorse, just a shrug like he'd spilled beer on a cheap carpet. I knew it was him, but no one believed me. Not the police, not our co-workers, not even our friends. Mike had charisma, the slippery kind you find on politicians and used car salesmen. Even Alex just shook his head sadly from his hospital bed and said, maybe it was just an accident. Mike made it personal, so I decided to show him what real bad luck looked like, one car ride at a time. It started small. Mike loved his shiny sports car more than he probably loved his mother. Every week, I subtly loosened a lug nut on his wheels, not enough to crash, just enough for him to pull over panicking on busy streets. He started to complain, my car feels weird, and I'd reply, maybe it's your driving finally catching up with your karma. But that was just the appetizer. Next up, I began slipping sugar into his gas tank. His car would stall randomly, leaving him stranded on crowded highways or outside clubs, red-faced and flustered, losing his cool faster than ice cream on a sidewalk in July. Mike became paranoid around cars, checking beneath his hood and under his seats, like someone convinced a gremlin was riding shotgun. I watched from across the parking lot, sipping my coffee like a proud parent at a recital, enjoying every sweaty glance and anxious sigh. I escalated again, swapping out his windshield washer fluid with cooking oil. One rainy day, he flicked on the wipers, smearing his windshield until he couldn't see anything but his own terrified reflection. He swerved into a ditch, muddy and humiliated, but unharmed enough to stew in embarrassment. The masterpiece came on another rainy evening. Mike's usual route home included the same intersection where he hit Alex. That night, I loosened his brake line just enough to give out under hard braking. As he approached the intersection, he slammed the brakes, but his car skidded helplessly, sliding through the intersection, flipping onto its side, and landing spectacularly in a ditch. The paramedics found him alive, but with shattered legs and a look of terror you'd usually see reserved for horror movies. At the hospital, I leaned in close enough to whisper, guess that's just bad luck, huh? That was the last time Mike ever drove or rode in a car. And not just because of his injuries, but because he developed a deep, unshakable fear of vehicles, something doctors called amaxophobia. Mike became a shut-in, terrified to leave home, turning pale at the mere sound of car keys jingling. These days, I visit Alex every week. We laugh, watch movies, and sometimes he asks casually, Mike still scared of cars? Absolutely, I tell him. Finally got exactly what he deserved. Alex grinned. Good. He always drove like he needed a lesson. And I think of Mike, locked in his apartment, eyes wide every time headlights flash past his window, jumping at every honk, afraid of every engine roar. And I smile because I didn't just wreck Mike's car. I made every ride he ever took a reason to regret getting behind the wheel.